Alright guys, welcome to another video. So today we're going to look at the Ogre Blood Bowl team, the Fire Mountain Gutbusters. So what we've got is the pitch, the minis, the card pack, the dice, and then the Spike magazine. Now the planets aligned this week and so many projects that I've been looking forward to for ages have come out at once. So also this weekend I'll be having a look at the 2019 Blood Bowl Almanac, the Blackstone Fortress Annual, the Warcry Tome of Champions, and the new Slaves to Darkness Start Collecting box. But anyway, so that's what's coming up over the next couple of days, but let's have a look at this. So how I'm going to do this is we'll get the easy stuff out of the way first, and then I'll build these and we'll have a look at them. So let's start with the pitch. So I haven't actually looked at any of this stuff yet, so I want to I'll give you my reaction to it, and then I'll give you my thoughts at the end. I'll sum up at the end what I think of this release. So Ogre pitch, let's have a look. Right, so before we have a look at the actual pitch, let's have a look at what is special about this and what changes the game. So the lands of the ogres lies far to the east, a region of desolate desert and magnificent mountains. Using the Ogre Mega Mall pitch in your Blood Bowl games. The Ogre Mega Mall pitch has two sides, one depicting the pitch in fair weather as cold winds blow from the mountains, chilling the high altitude deserts and rocky foothills. The other side depicts the pitch in the grip of a sudden freezing blizzard. If both players agree, the following rules can be used to represent the unusual conditions. The desert side of the pitch is used during the first half of the game, subjecting the players to the blinding light of the sun and the savage bite of chill winds laden with desert sands. Do not roll the weather table at the start of the game, instead follow the weather conditions that will be in effect for the duration of the first drive. So strong winds. Immediately roll on the scatter template to determine the direction of the wind and make a note of the result. During kickoffs and inaccurate passes, the ball scatters D3 squares in this direction before the normal scatter rolls are made. If a changing weather result is rolled during any kickoff, do not roll on the weather table. Instead, the sudden blizzard descends and the following effects. Visibility is low, it's slippery underfoot, and it is impossible to spot tripping hazards, making it very difficult indeed to block effectively. Whenever a player makes a blitz action, their strength is reduced by 1 for the duration of that action. Additionally, whenever a player is knocked down, add 1 to the result of the armor roll. Should another changing weather result be rolled, roll as normal on the weather table. Okay, interesting. So we'll look at our dugouts first. So there's the desert side. So it's pretty cool. And kind of these round symbols with what looks like sharp teeth in it. That's like the ogre symbol. And then there's the frozen side. Very nice. And then the pitch itself, I haven't got enough space to show you the entire pitch in one go. But we'll get the gist of it. Right, so there is the centre of the pitch. Just fold this out one more. There's a hole in it. Okay, so that is the desert side. And then as the blizzard descends, this is the other side. Cool, that's really cool. But yep, I like it a lot. Right, let's take a look at the dice quickly. These are cool. Let's have a look. Right, where's the Ogre symbol? There you go. That's the symbol on the D6s. The rest of it's pretty standard for Blood Bowl dice. So those are nice. Let's have a look at the cards. Okay, so Ogres. Movement 5, Strength 5, Agility 2, an armor value of 9. So somewhat decent on the movement. Good, very good strength. Poor agility. High armor value. So the skills they've got are Bonehead, Mighty Blow, Thick Skull, and Throw Teammate. So with that we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 playable, or sorry, fillable cards. Then we've got the Runt Punter. He's got exactly the same stats. Skills, let's have a look. Got Bonehead as well. They've got Kick Teammate. They've got, instead of Throw Teammate, and it's got Mighty Blow and Thick Skull, like the normal Ogres. And you get 2 more fillable cards for that. Then you get the Nobblers, 20,000 gold pieces. So movement 5, strength 1, but agility 3 and armor value of 5. Their skills are disposable, dodge, right stuff, sidestep, stunty, and titchy. I think we get loads of, yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 fillable sheets for those. So you can play up to well, you can have 16 of these in your team. Let's have a look at the Runt Punter. 150,000 gold pieces, and you can only have 1. And in the standard Ogres, you can have 5 of them, and they're 140k. Okay, so let's have a look at the star players. So you got Bob Bifford, the Biff. He's 380,000. Oh, it's expensive. Movement of 5, strength 6, agility 2, and armor value of 10. Block, break tackle, juggernaut, loner, mighty blow, multiple block, throw teammate, and thick skull. And he can go into any team. That's interesting. It's good to know, actually. So I think this is a brand new card. I don't think that Biff's been that Bob's been playable previous to now. So that's good. Right, we've got Bomber Dribble Shot, Goblin. So it's a star player, but only costs 60,000 gold pieces. So that's well worth remembering. Movement of 6, strength 2, agility 3, armor of 7. Okay, so decent movement, decent agility. His skills are accurate, bombardier, dodge, loner, right stuff, secret weapon, and stunty. And he can be played by Goblin, Ogre, Orc, Chaos Renegades, and Underworld Denzians. Nobbler Blackwart is another Goblin, 130,000 gold pieces. His stats are exactly the same as Bomber Dribble Snots. Movement of 6, strength 2, agility 3, armor value of 7. But he's got the chainsaw skill, along with dodge, loner, secret weapon, stunty, and block. And he can play for Chaos Dwarf, which just went on pre-order today, actually. Chaos Dwarf, but it's the old sculpt. So if you're interested in grabbing the old sculpts of that, you can buy them off of Forge World this week. You can go in Goblin, Ogre, and Underworld Denzians. Standard Morgenthau, bloody expensive, 430,000 gold pieces. So block, loner, mighty blow, thick skull, and throw teammate. And he goes into any team except for anything undead. Right, we've got Scrapper Sawhead, 150,000 gold pieces, another Goblin. Movement 7, strength 2, agility 3, armor value 7. So he's a dirty player. He's got dodge, loner, pogo stick. so that grants the leap and very long legs abilities. Right stuff, sprint, stunty and sure feet. And you can go in Goblin, Ogre and Orc teams. Okay, so we've got Big Jobbo, Hairy Foot. Halfling, 120,000 gold pieces. So his stats are fairly, well, very tame. Movement of 4, strength 3, agility 2 and armor value of 8. But the skills he's got are Dirty Player, Loner, Stand Firm, Stunty, Tackle and Wrestle. And you can go in Halfling and Ogre teams. Grack, Big Ogre, 30,000 gold pieces and includes Crumbleberry. Who's Crumbleberry? So these players are team. These guys play together, right? Well, let's have a look at Grack first. Movement and strength of 5, agility 2 and armor of 9. So that's very good stuff there. His skills are Bonehead, Kick Teammate. So he's another punter. Loner, Mighty Blow and Thick Skull. And you can go in any team. And he comes with Crumbleberry and vice versa. Movement of 5, strength 2, agility 3, armor value of 6. He's got Dodge, Loner, Right Stuff, Stunty and Sure Hands. And he goes in any team. That's good. Right, so something I read about the other day. I don't understand it. I don't know what model we're going to play for it or anything like that. But we've got the Slave Giant. So he's worth 400,000 gold pieces. And he's a sporting giant. So movement of 6, strength of 7, agility 2 and armor value of 10. His skills are Always Hungry, Bonehead, Juggernaut, Loner, Mighty Blow, Multiple Block, Sporting Giant, Stand Firm and Throw Teammate. And he goes in any team. But yeah, I've never seen this before, so I don't know what it's going to look like. A big giant's foot on a base. Interesting. We'll find out more about that in the Spike magazine when we look in a second. Okay, so what have we got here? So how to use the cheat cards. That's fine. A match record card. That's fine. Let's have a look at the miscellaneous mayhem cards quickly. So we've got Your Maw is so big. Play at the start of any of your turns before any of your players takes an action. Select one player on your team and one player on the opposing team. For the remainder of this drive, the chosen player from the opposing team gains the really stupid skill. However, should that player perform a block action against a player chosen from your team, they'll automatically pass their really stupid test and will gain the frenzy skill for the duration of this action. Okay. Then we've got No Guts, No Glory. At the start, play at the start of any of your turns before any of your players takes an action. Randomly select one player on your team for the remainder of that game. The player gains the Dauntless and Pro skills. Dauntless is brilliant ability. That'd be really good for you for a halfling or something like that. Something with low strength, because you know you can use that ability to match whoever he's fighting. Circling Vultures. Play at the start of any of your turns before any of your players takes an action. Select one player on your team that has both the Stunty and Right Stuff skills. For the remainder of this game, that player gains the Swoop and Secret Weapon skills. And then we've got Mediocre. Play at the start of any drive while setting up your team. Select one player on the opposing team and roll a d6. On a 2-up, that player must reduce their agility by 1 for the remainder of the drive. Okay, that's good. And then we've got some heroic feat cards. Let's have a look. Remember My Name. Play when a player on your team throws a block after rolling the block dice but before making the armor roll. If the armor roll did not succeed and the player that threw the block is standing in a square adjacent to the player they blocked, they may immediately make a free foul action against the player they blocked. Then we've got Like a Ball on the Gridiron. This young star causes some havoc on the line of scrimmage. Play at the start of the drive while setting up your team. For the remainder of this drive, when the player gives an assist to a teammate during the block, add +2 strength to the player being assisted. Ogre Achiever. Play at the start of any of your turns before any actions. Select one player on your team that has either the bonehead, extremely stupid or wild animal skills. Until the end of this drive, the player loses one of those skills. And then hungry for the more. Playing when one of your players is removed from play as a result of a roll on the casualty table. The player is instead knocked out and does not suffer the effect on the injury roll. However, the opposing player still earns SPPs as if they had caused the casualty. Okay, so that's a really handy card as well. You know, it's definitely a good one to have in your back pocket for if one of your star players or something is about to get mullered. Okay, so we've got some cards, scatter template, explaining what that is, and the throw-in template, which is interesting. Learning about bottles of heady brew, so liquid courage, 40,000 gold pieces. Learning about what that, you know, what you're spending money on that. And again, righteous rookies, a rowdy rabble, 100,000 gold pieces. Ahead of the game, the head coach ventures outside the stadium armed with handfuls of small change and dried beans, which they fling into the adoring crowd, telling them they've been hired, and this game is their big break in Blood Bowl. Regardless of how many players are available for the game, in addition to any journeyman the team gains for free to make up for any lack of players, your team gains an additional 2d3 plus 1 journeyman for this game. The fresh-faced young hopefuls may take the number of players on your team's roster temporarily above 16. They're normal journeyman players in every other respect, and unless hired in the post-game sequence, they will be sent on their merry way once the game has ended. Okay, that's interesting. And then we've got Fire Belly, out of the frying pan. So that's 150,000. Can be played by Chaos Renegades and Ogres. Cast a spell immediately after your turn has been ended, even if it's been ended with a turnover. Choose any square adjacent to one of the sidelines in the column of fire starting point. The spell moves in a straight line from that starting point directly towards the opposing sideline. Roll a d6 for each standing player from either team that occupies the square in the path of the spell. If the to hit roll is a 4 or more, then the player is knocked down. If it's a 3 or less, the player manages to avoid the spell. Make an armor roll and possible injury as well for any player that is knocked down, as if they had been knocked down by a player with the Mighty Blow skill. If a player on the moving team is knocked down by this spell, then the moving team does not suffer a turnover unless the player was carrying the ball at any time. Okay, so that's the cards. That's pretty good. So let's next have a look in the Spike magazine. Guts and Gluttony, the Ogres trample onto the pitch. Golden Ogres, discover the legend of Bob Bifford and more. Issue number 8. So this does not feature in the 2019 almanac. So this will feature in the 2021. Just in the same way as the Undead team came out last December, but it didn't feature in the 2018 almanac. It's in this one. Greetings, sport fans. Welcome to the rugged pages of Spike Journal, where you can overindulge in everything ogre. Join us as we fill our bellies with the tantalising tales of the largest teams in Blood Bowl. Tread carefully though, or you might find yourself on the menu. Right, okay, so contents. Big is Beautiful, famous ogre teams, Fire Mountain Gutbusters, the star player Morgenthau, Dirt from the Dugout, star player Bob Bifford, a Titanic Effort, They Think It's All Ogre, Special Dietary Requirements, Chat with the Rat, Coffin Corner, and then Mighty Blow. Okay. Ogres and Blood Bowl go well together. It is simply alchemy. Since the earliest days of the modern game, ogres have gravitated towards the gridiron in great numbers. Their size, strength and simple love of violence makes them natural players. Whilst their mercenary mindset and willingness to work for anyone with money makes them readily available to most coaches, this month we at Spike Journal decided to take a look at the giants of the game, if we couldn't avoid being eaten, to share our findings with our loyal readers. Okay, so let's get to the highlights. So they're big, brutish and simple, characteristic that make them ideal Blood Bowl players. Famous ogre teams: the Oldheim Ogres, the Noblar Gobblers, the Tusk Peak Tyrants, and the Badland Bruisers. This is the team roster, so it gives us what we've got in this box, and it goes through all their strength and skills and all that kind of stuff. The Noblars, Ogres, Runt Punters, as seen in these cards. Then it goes through all of the different star players that are available to the Ogre team. And for a reminder, those are Big Jobbo Hairyfoot, Bomber Dribble Snot, Nobbler Blackwort, Morgan Thorg, Scrapper Sorehead, and Bob Bifford, a golden era star player. Okay, then we've got the team spotlight, which is about our team, the Fire Mountain Gutbusters. It's got their career highlights, which is good. So this is their 2494, 2495 squad. It's got all the different names in there. And none of the star players appear in there. And so there are 1, 2, 3 ogres, a runt punter, and the rest are made up from nobblers. So that's cool. Then we've got a star player spotlight on Morgenthau. Then we've got dirt from the dugout. Mindy Pie Whistle is our halfling on the spot when it comes to digging up dishy dirt and salacious scandals that our readers have come to know and love. This issue, Mindy tackles the rumours of vicious Noblar fighting rings being run in the underbelly of Ogre Kingdom's changing rooms. Okay, then we've got Bob Bifford. So our commentator, we've got a lot of information about him, which is cool. He's tough as well. Not as expensive as Morgenthau, and not quite as good skills, but very interesting. Then we've got Builder Bob. Give him an afro. Yeah, interesting. That's weird. I don't know why that's in here, but that's still pretty cool. Right, okay, Titanic Effort, the biggest of the big guys. This is what I wanted to know. That giant, what is going on with this? Long ago, in a time when war was being preferred to Blood Bowl and wanton destruction of the battlefield occupied the hearts and minds of every mortal across the world. These days, it's wanton destruction on the terraces that occupies most mere mortals' minds. There lived a race known as the Sky Titans. As befitting of a grandiose title, the Sky Titans have lived atop the tallest peaks, building their halls and towering castles at the top of the world. Solitary beings, the Sky Titans would gather once a year to renew their kinship, throwing and catching boulders in a contest of athleticism that many believe was rooted in worship of Nuffle. Today there's no more Sky Titans. Their tale ended in tragedy, for most were consumed quite literally by the great migration of ogres fleeing destruction in their tribal lands. Those few Sky Titans that survived were forced into small huddled tribes that dispersed across the old world. And over time, they degenerated into the race of giants we know today. Historically, many giants were kept as slaves by ogre tribes. The mightiest tyrants, as ogre tribal chieftains are called, enjoy taking giants captive and wrestling them to prove their prowess. In less enlightening times, these captives were prized for their destructiveness in battle. In later years, thanks part to the strict NAF regulations regarding the inclusion of giants in Blood Bowl teams, giants have come to be viewed as too expensive to keep around, due largely to the damage they do to the stadia and the outrageous expense of equipping them with official branded kit. Consequently, possessions of such brutes fell out of favour in ogre society, until that is, coach known as Scoregg Gristlebrook took a fresh look at ancient Sky Titan carvings. Then it just goes through how giants got brought into ogre teams historically. But over the next few seasons, the glut of giants took to the field as part of the Mountains of Morn Mega Maul League. The countless unfortunate goblins became permanent features embedded in the astrogranite of many a pitch. After a lengthy litigation period involving accusation of a rogue slave giant running off with the heiress of an imperial noble family, slave giants were banned from regular play on the orders of the RARG. Today, Gristlebrook's Giants Emporium caters to teams with enough gold to hire a giant, but which are lacking in both caution and scruples. Whilst the number of leagues or tournaments that allow such brutes is quite low, the market for their services in exhibition games and grand events is most lucrative. Many celebrations, sacred holidays and feast days are now marked by a Blood Bowl game where one or both sides include a slave giant, a format especially loved by the northern fans of Ogre tribes. So I think this is telling us that we can play him in exhibition games or just standard games, but just not in a league format. That's what I'm kind of getting from that. Although he does have a cost. Okay, anyway. And then there's some kind of more special rules for the giant. So that's interesting. I do intend to record a battle report in a couple of weeks of a Ogres game, and I will include the giant in that. I'm not sure how I'm gonna find a model to fit in, but I'm sure I can find a big action man figure or something I can just cut the leg off of. Anyway, so that's that. They think it's all Ogre. Ogre teams are a terrifying prospect for many a coach. Facing the line of scrimmage crowded by high-strength, man-eating monsters is intimidating to say the least. But Ogres aren't the brightest of players, and their teams fill out their ranks with nobblers of all things. Some of the smallest and weakest players around. Here we at Spike Journal approach the Watch Commander, PO of the Newcastle Constabulary, a city renowned for its large Ogre population. You have plenty to say on the subject, the large locals and their love of Blood Bowl. Right, okay, I'm not going to go through all that right now, but it's got some more stuff here about how to get a league going and progressing the players. So adding some skills into the team. So for example, defensive Ogres can add guard, stand firm and grab, or on a double, a block, leader and pro. So that's interesting. Tournament and exhibition play rosters is part of there, and then a summary. So that's good. Special dietary requirements, Ogre rules and inducements. So Riotous Rookies, bottles of heady brew that we read about in the cards. So we've got new extraordinary skills such as disposable and kick teammate. So we all know about throw teammate, especially anyone who's a fan of halflings. And now we've got kick teammate. Chat with a rat. So that's basically a kind of interview with the scribbler. And then we've got a little couple of pages of a comic here, which is pretty cool. Okay, so it's good. It's good mag. I like it. There's a lot more rules heavy stuff in this than there has been in previous Spike issues, as far as I can tell. So that's interesting. I will have to have a good look through that. Right, okay. Let's have a look at some plastic. We've got a whole bunch of bases, including smaller ones for our nobblers. We've got, these are the transfers that we've got, which is good. So we've got two sprues here, which are, I believe, identical. So let's make up some models and take a look. Okay, so let's have a look at what we've got. Well, let's have a look at the Nobblers first. So you get, you actually get 12 of these. Now they're tiny. Really tiny, but they are cool little sculpts. One. Number 3. They are nice. Oh, he's not stuck to his base properly. Fourth one. This 5th one, diving for the ball. Very nice. Number 6. Again, jumping up to catch the ball. Then we get 3 standard ogres. I made one of them up. These are really cool. So cool that I think that ogres might be my new Blood Bowl team. And then we've got the Runt Punter. Now what is quite interesting about this is that you get 2 sculpts like this, and the only difference is the heads, this shield thing on the stomach, and what they're holding. So in his case it's a little knobbler. And this is the Runt Punter, obviously, because of the way he's got his foot cocked back there to boot a knobbler. However, the alternatives, there's another alternative sculpt that's it's in this exact same pose, but that's just for a standard ogre. So might be a little bit of confusion as we go forward on that. But there you go, those are the ogres. So what do I think? The spike issue, I think, is a step up in terms of the amount of special rules and that kind of things that are in there. So I like that. The board and dugouts is nice, but then, to be fair, pretty standard for what we've come to expect from these releases. Dice are cool, as you'd expect. I like the star players, and I'm looking forward to trying out the giant. Again, I'm just not quite sure at the moment what I'm going to use as a model for him, if I can ever find him again. Yeah, there we go. But I'm looking forward to trying it out. So if you want to see a battle report or a match featuring the ogres, and probably play them against the lizard men, so the 2 newest teams, stay tuned and I'll have one up on the channel in around about a week or so. But there you go. Yeah, I like it. It's good. We've got a lot of stuff left on the sprue that we didn't need, and those are alternative heads, a few alternative arms, some knives, some like fist knives and that kind of thing. So there's a lot of stuff left over. But yeah, no, I think it's a solid release from Blood Bowl, and I am very much looking forward to playing it. One thing I didn't show you, I forgot, is that's how the coin looks, which is nice. That's how the other marker is. There's a hand with like a bear trap in it. And then got 2 balls. Nothing particularly exciting about them. But yeah, so that's it. So yeah, I like the ogres, and that is a good release. So thanks very much for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this, like and subscribe and all that good stuff, and stay tuned for more Blood Bowl. See you later.